start with a funny story. Is after yesterday's loss, I decided to leave early this morning, 9 o'clock or 9:15. So I went to 8 a.m. Mass at St. John's in Indianapolis. And I was leaving the Mass, and the priest was there who was from Minnesota, who came to the Big Ten tournament. And when I was walking out the door, he said, "Coach, I think you're in." And I said, "How do you know that?" He said, I got a guy that is better than Lenardi." And I said, "Are we talking about this guy? Is that the guy you're talking about?" And he had another guy that was better than Lenardi. So it started my day on a positive note, and little did I know that he was right. So I'm so happy for our guys that we're been elected to go into the NCAA tournament again. So you don't have to ask the question. Thrilled to be in any way, shape, or form. Play-in game is part of the NCAA tournament. In fact, I'm glad we don't have we just played 3 games. We did a lot of good things, and we don't have 5 days we just got to sort of go play, rest a little bit, go through some quick things that we can learn about Tulsa and ourselves, and play, and then play again, and then play again. So it's a great opportunity for us after a long, challenging season to keep playing now in March.
So you were the only one in the room that didn't know because of the leaked bracket, they were saying.
Yeah, apparently then I saw them looking at the phone. I said, "What do you have there?" And they told me that the bracket had been right so far, but I didn't trust that. I needed to see it.
Fire away, guys.
John, what's it mean for the program to not have, from last year at this time?
Yeah. I looked at this thing because I know because we had been to such heights in the years before, it was like everybody was down, and I said, you know what, given the way the injuries and the NBA attrition, we're just sort of going back up again. We weren't like going in the wrong direction. We're going back up again after 16 wins. We had 20, 19, 20, 21, 22. We're going back up. And so it's great to have that sort of verified by being back in the NCAA tournament. But if it was the NIT, I'd have the same impression right now, that we would have been a great seed in the NIT, and we would have tried to make the most of that. So it's all good for us. I mean, to win the games that we did, to beat Indiana, to beat Northwestern twice in the tournament, it is just good for us overall, for our kids' psyche, and for our fans to just feel good about the future, that these kids are getting better. We got everybody coming back next year that was playing at the end of the year. We're moving in the right direction.
How long a night will this be, learning about Tulsa?
Traditionally, I don't spend, it's never been a 2-day turnaround like this, but for me it won't be. I value on getting a good night's sleep and getting up early in the morning. I do my best work, very early in the morning. And so I will probably do a couple of media things for Tom. I'll get the stat pack on them, but I won't do any video work on them. I'll just look at their stats till 11 and 12, and I'll go to bed and get up very early and start the day. So by the time, I don't even know what our travel schedule will be, how you go about this, but they let you go 2 days early, 1 day early, I don't know. But, it will be more of a regular day of just getting, after a game.
Does Tam have some more minutes coming up? Seeing as how he might be the guy that got you into the NCAA.
I hugged him, and I said, we don't get in without that shot probably. So he will probably have that same role as needed. It depends what Zach's doing, really. He's been the replacement for Zach, and it'll probably depend on how if he needs a rest. Zach obviously needed a rest in the game. He couldn't find his range at all in the game against a really good Purdue team. So Cam will be in there.
Coach, after playing Indiana and Purdue in Indiana, not to look past Tulsa, but if you get to Brooklyn, that's been kind of a little bit of a home court advantage for you guys. Can you speak to the East Coast Michigan people?
Well, I won't look past that. I just hope we have a huge crowd of people that are. I know it will be a good venue in Dayton, and I know we'll have a lot of Michigan fans. Of course, it is in the state of Ohio, so they may become Tulsa fans there as well. But it'll be a good environment, and that's all I'm going to concern myself is with the Tulsa game.
Do you know anything about Tulsa at this point?
No, I don't. I know Frank Haith from years ago. I'm trying to think where he was when I was coaching, but I've known him for many, many years. But I don't know one thing about their team, but I will by midnight tonight.
In the time since yesterday's game, had you been thinking about, okay, if if we go to Dayton, this is how I'll play, like, because, you know, in terms of just your hours and what you can do.
I was trying to do a schedule for this week, and I did think about that, but it wasn't a lot. I was just trying to, this was a time that I did do some bracketology and try and figure out and say, you know, and I was watching those first teams to come out, and it was really weighted at the Pac-10. It was getting great seeds, and that was surprising to me. But I guess I don't follow, I obviously don't follow college basketball like that committee does. But they were getting great seeds, and you know, when I see Indiana and Maryland get a 5 seed, they're to me they're really good basketball teams. And but now they get a chance to prove that they're better than even the 5 seed. But I think they're just happy to be in there as well.
You gave Derek a hug out in the hall and said something to him. What'd you say?
Well, he needed to get a lot of rest right now. There's just a lot of distractions right now of everybody. You know, you don't need to answer texts right now. You know, I mean, after the Indiana game, I came out of the locker room with like 100 and some texts after. I don't even, you know, imagine what they get. So just, you don't have to do those things. You have to stay on focus. You have to lose one opportunity, and he needs rest more than anything because of the minutes he plays. You know, we do this thing where we can measure their what they've done, their workload in practice. And his workload in practice has been the leader most days, even when I'm telling him to back off, or I try and get Dockage in there more and more for him. So he needs rest.
Derek mentioned that Cam was the most nervous in the entire room, pacing, wouldn't eat or drink or anything like that. What was that like for him, you think? And apparently they kind of mobbed him a little bit again after it was announced.
Well, everybody knows what that shot meant. You know, to beat Indiana in a very unfriendly environment. I didn't notice that. I was sort of, you know, we were very spread out, and we had families there, and we had babies running around. I didn't notice they were noticing that, but you know, I'm just glad for Cam, really. But you know, he's so well liked on this team, and that's why it's really special too.
You didn't want to say too much before the decision was made, but it was clear that you kind of felt that this team deserved to get in. Is that accurate?
Well, yeah, I feel that way, but you got to remember I'm really biased because I only know what we can accomplish. If you watched it, even when we played at Maryland, I mean, didn't you think we could play with anybody? When you see how we play, I mean, we scored a lot of points on Maryland, and we can do that when we're all, you know, playing together and really playing as one, and everybody's doing what they have to do. So I know who we can be at times, but you know, sometimes we just can't pull it all together. A lot of reasons for that, but this is one time we have to, or our season will be over.
To build on that, do you think there was a positive effect of finally announcing, you know, Nick Harris is done for the year, he's definitely not coming back, and these guys kind of maybe knowing officially what they look like? Yeah,
it could be. There was always that lingering. Not that I said if Harris plays tomorrow, you know, each time it was like they knew we practiced 2 days without him, and then they'd look and he wasn't there again. They knew he wasn't playing the next day, and so it sort of it probably was in some way, but it allowed us as a coaching staff to focus in on, all right, what are we going to do when we play? Can we play Aubrey over here? Right, now we finally sat down at the end, we're just going to go with Cam and let Cam play. And so there's probably some sense of it, but I don't think it was a huge deal. I just think everybody just got really comfortable with their minutes, and we got the rotation sort of figured out.
Coach, they just flashed on the screen that you'll play at 9:10 Eastern time.
Those are long days.
I mean, that's kind of what I was going to get at. What are the challenges of playing that late at night? Because I'm sure the guys wake up in the morning and they just want to go to the gym.
We'll have a good shoot around there, that's for sure. So that will be good. I don't know if we'll go practice there now, if that's the situation. We'll just rely on a 2 o'clock shoot around that day. So, but we have had several 9-10 games, 9 o'clock type of games. I don't know if we played well in all of them, and I don't know if it matters. But we'll just have to do what we have to do.
It was weird.
It's better than Friday at 9:10. Yeah. I guarantee you. If everybody remembers our loss to Ohio U, where I think a later game on a Friday night, and we had all week. It was long.
It was a weird split in the Big Ten where you didn't get as many top 100 wins because of that bottom half. Is that something that you might have to address in non-conference scheduling going forward in case?
No, you know what? Here's exactly what happened. Is the Nebraska's would have been a 50 to 100 team at least if Siobhan Shields doesn't get hurt. You know, Minnesota dropped off the face of the earth at the end, right? Where their scores and everything like plummeted them out of there. right? Illinois had the injuries things. So we should have had several opportunities there. Who would think that you'd play, let me see, who else was it? Was it Charlotte? And there was another game that I was thinking of that wasn't into those type of areas where they normally are. Usually when you go to those multi-team tournaments, those three, you're going to be in there. So there just was a void there of teams that, for no fault of their own, were not, in that 50 to 100 category. So I didn't see that. I think our schedule strength turned out to be like a 39 in the end, and that's given at the end with those teams. I mean, when have you seen a Rutgers and a Minnesota? That was just like these years that were really, really tough for them. And Illinois as well. But we didn't get the proper credit. That won't happen many more times.
Duncan mentioned kind of thinking about this moment before he came over. What does it mean, after sitting out a year, to see him get this opportunity at D1 level?
Well, for him, this has been such a great learning experience for him. And we've tried not to touch on. There's so many things he's got to get better on in the off season, and he'll work like crazy at them. And so for right now, it just gives him another opportunity to validate that his performance in the Big Ten, both hitting clutch shots, and just playing a lot of minutes in the Big Ten, rebounding, and having assists in the tournament, validated why he's here.
Guys,
So lightweight.
I can't wait. All these other times you've been on the bubble, you've had different reactions. I remember 1 year you had Captain took you to movies and stuff. Did you have to be distracted, or did you want to be invested today? Is there a difference?
We drove back. Like I said, I stayed the night in Indianapolis, so I thought about it a lot, but I didn't. I did come over here at about 3, and I cleaned my desk. The inside of my desk, those things where I'm throwing out all these things that I was saving that I'm never going to use again. So that was a little of the distraction while I watched not the Michigan State Purdue game. I watched the UConn Memphis game. You know who I was rooting for in that one. So I had to do things. If I stayed home, I would have probably cleaned the garage or something.
How's Karras feeling?
I saw a big smile on him when we got there. It was a little, because this whatever leaked. They felt confident about it, I guess. So I guess it wasn't this huge surprise that it was to my wife, who I never told about the leak because I didn't believe it. And so, but I had a premonition. So I think it's just him and Spike are really thrilled because they're a part of this thing. Yeah, you think we beat Texas? If we don't beat Texas, we're probably not in. We don't beat Texas without that young man. So it's been for him. I know he wished he was playing. Now he's going to get us the same sport. Him and Spike were uncharacteristically more involved in our strong talk before and during the game, just being a part of the team. They really stepped forward.
In this type turnaround, just in terms of how much scouting and stuff do you focus on Tulsa, and how much do you just work on your own stuff and go?
So this is, usually there's a 2-day turnaround, a 2 or 3 day turnaround, and we will. The coaches will be a week of it, but now we'll put, like I said, somebody will take Notre Dame, but the other 2 coaches and some of the GAs and things like that will start to really work at the Tulsa Scout. I mean, they'll be up late tonight, all day tomorrow. I'll just watch I'll watch the games. I won't watch cuts. I just want to see a flow of how they play and study stats, and then we'll start meeting tomorrow. Everybody will work on their own. I want people to do individual things. I'll give them some direction here in a few minutes. And here's what I want you to watch. Here's what I want you to watch. And then we'll stay away from each other and bring it together around probably noon tomorrow, and all the way up to film at 3. I think we have film as a team at 3:15.